Welcome back to the Pearls and Perils podcast. I'm your host, Peta-Kay. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the Pearls and Perils. If you are a returning listener, then hey, it's been a while since I did just an audio episode. The last couple of episodes have all been video, which I'm proud of because it's taken me a while to commit to doing video, but at the same time, audio will forever have my heart. I personally prefer just listening to podcast episodes as opposed to watching them, but I'm trying to branch out of doing the things that just appeal to what I want to do and really just trying to adjust and also do things that require more effort and do make me uncomfortable. I think one of the things I love about audio is right now I'm sitting at my dining room table. I've got a bonnet on, I've got a cold, but I'm going to record this episode anyway. I'm really trying to be more committed this year as far as being consistent with recording episodes. I do have a cold, so if I sound a little blocked or nasally, that is exactly why I have a cold, but I'm still here, I'm still showing up. And I really didn't want another week to pass without me actually recording and posting. So here I am. And I just wanted this to be an impromptu episode. Let's talk about January so far. Well, now it's the 1st of February. So welcome to the new month. I've started off the new month with a cold, sick, but I'm grateful. I do have an event coming up this week, which is insane. It's my first event of the year in person as well, and I'm excited about it. But I wanted to talk a little bit about January. It was my birthday, 10:31, traveled to Malta, which was really nice. And being a January baby, the last couple of years I've been able to go on holiday in January. So I've kind of started this new tradition where, living in the UK is most of the times it's cold in January. If it's not cold, it's raining, it's dark. And I do find sometimes planning my birthday can get stressful, especially when you have a large group of friends or you're trying to get different people together from different groups. And it can just get stressful. I think for me, the most stressful part is planning. Actually, no, that's not true. Not the planning. It's the getting deposits, deadlines, people flaking, people canceling. That is the part that I really, really, really hate. And it's why over the last couple of years, I haven't really committed to anything on my birthday. With exception to my 30th, I also did something just chill at home for my 29th. But yeah, I think, yeah, just that stress of planning. If you can relate, let me know. It kind of puts me off, honestly. Dealing with people it's more the canceling and also chasing people for money. Like it's not something that I like to do, but maybe I need to take a different approach and I just need to get one of my friends to help me plan my birthday so then I don't have to deal with the stress and they can do it for me. But similarly to that, as I've been planning my event, which is a Valentine's Investing 101 event, and this event really is the first event I've had that will be solely focusing on investing. And I've wanted to do an event like this for a while. Investing is a topic that I've wanted to create an event about, but I don't know why I just haven't. I always had this hesitancy to do it. I feel like I need to be this investment expert in order to deliver this session, which is obviously not the case. And there is a lot that I know about investing, not only from my own experience, but also from what I've studied. And I've been working with people over the last 5 years, getting started in investing, helping them on their journeys as well. But I just feel like now is the time. And I've gotten to a place, if I'm really honest, in my content that, especially with where the economy is, I feel like there's only so much you can talk about budgeting and managing your money. And budgeting will forever be their goal. And I think it's important, but there's only so much you can cut back. There's only so much you can be intentional with how you spend. There definitely is a big need for people to learn how to multiply their money, for people to learn how to start investing, how to start building on their future, and especially for women, because as I've been really reflecting the last few months and also just situations that have happened in my personal life and people close to me, it's really just drummed in the importance for me, especially for women, of really having your finances in order, having a plan, preparing for retirement, having options, honestly. And I'm the kind of person I love to have options. I have a 9 to 5 job, but I also have my business. And I intend on keeping both, doing both at the same time for as long as it is sustainable for me to do so. And honestly, the main reason for that is having options and also having stability. Entrepreneurship is great and being your own boss is great on paper and it sounds nice to to tell people, "Oh, I'm my own boss," and all this kind of stuff. But the stress that comes with entrepreneurship and the inconsistency as well, especially when it comes to income. I was looking at my taxes for the last tax year, and there were some months that were quite good, like the income that I received. I was like, this isn't bad. But there were some months that it was crickets. And I think that's often what people don't talk about. And it makes me think, imagine if I was doing my business full time, I was seeing one on my own, it wouldn't be sustainable at all. It would just be too stressful. And something that I've come to realize, especially coming towards the end of my 20s, is that stability is very, very important to me. Like, I never want to feel like I'm in a situation where my finances is just like upside down and I don't know where my next £10 is going to come from. Like, if I can avoid being in that situation, I'm going to do what I need to do to avoid it. And so, if that means having to juggle both, I will happily do that because the stability of knowing that I'm gonna get paid on a certain day is more important to me than being able to flex and say, "Oh, yeah, my own boss." But yeah, if you didn't know that about me now, you know. A lot of people that do follow me on social media, they think, I just do that full time, like my coaching that is, but I don't. And honestly, I'm glad that I don't because looking at the inconsistencies, it's just like, yeah, it's I think for me, I would have to get to a place where I'm having consistent income from multiple sources. And also, I just think for me, my outlook on business and entrepreneurship and what building wealth looks like has changed a lot and evolved a lot over the last year. In the earlier part of my 20s, that was the dream for me, like being my own boss, being a full-time entrepreneur, that's what I wanted to do. But having tasted that and experienced that over the last few years and also really just seeing the reality of it, I think sometimes when you're looking at it from an outside perspective or you're looking at others that they're more so in a different phase of their life where their business is now turning over high profits, they have employees, like, they're at a completely different phase in their business journey, and when you're comparing the point that you're at with that stage, it's completely different circumstances, and I think for me, looking at the realities, it's like, yeah, I don't want to put myself in a stressful situation that I don't need to be in, and I'm just kind of learning what works best for me, and I find it so interesting how so many things that years back I would have said, "This is what I want, that's the dream," has evolved and has changed. And I think this is why it's important to have goals, yes, but also to be flexible. Because the goals that you're setting right now, or the things that you're saying that you desire, that you want to work towards, are things right now that are important to you, are things right now that you're seeing through a certain lens. But as you grow and evolve and your priorities and change in life, some of those things may shift. And I think that's why it is important to be flexible. And I will definitely say that it's important to be intentional, not only with your money, but with your time. Life is so short, life can be so unpredictable. Anything can happen at any time. And I think for that reason, it's really, really important. And life has just been reminding me of that, the importance of just being intentional with your time, with how you live your life, with how you treat people, with how you treat yourself. And so I just think, yeah, life is too short to not live it intentionally. Like, you got to. Because if you don't, your life will pass you by and you're gonna wonder like, where's the time gone? And that's one thing I'm realizing, the time is going so fast. January was a long month, as it normally is. And it's really that month where most people are just counting down the days to payday. And this is why, being a January baby is it's not always ideal for this reason because most people are broke by the time it gets to January, and my birthday is like bang in the middle as well, so it's not ideal. But it's where was I going with this? um, I don't even remember where I was going with this. Do you know what it is? I was going impromptu. I looked at my notes and then it just kind of distracted me. I had a few key points I wanted to just touch on a little bit. This is gonna be a short episode. I don't think it's gonna be too long. Well, I say that now, we're coming up to 10 minutes. But some of the things that I've been reflecting on lately and things that I've been speaking about on YouTube and also here on the podcast is the superhero complex. I spoke about that in a video a few weeks back. If you haven't seen that or listened to that episode, definitely have a listen to that, especially if you are someone who is the strong one. You are the strong one for everyone. You're the one that has to show up for everybody. whether that's a choice or a position that you have been ordained with. But I just think some of us that are quote unquote the strong one, we aren't that way by choice. It's not something that we've chosen for ourselves, but it's something that we've learned as a result of resilience. It's something we've built. It's something we've had to learn, based on situations and maybe struggles or trauma or experiences in life that we've gone through. That's made us have to build up that strength. And I think sometimes the weight of being the strong one can be heavy. And I think also when you are the go-to person for a lot of people, it can be difficult when you don't necessarily have anyone in your life that is like you are for others. That can be tough. That can be heavy. And that's definitely something that I've been thinking about a lot. And also, as I've been planning this event that I have coming up this week, can't believe it's 7th of Feb, it's made me realize, I mean, it's something I've always known about myself. I do find it difficult to ask for help. It's something I have gotten better at, but for a number of reasons, like if I'm doing something and I have the capability to do it, I'd rather just do it myself. One, because sometimes people can disappoint you. That's one. And I don't like to depend on people or put myself in a position where if that person flops me, it's going to ruin my plans, it's going to delay things for me. Also, I think a little bit of impatience is why I prefer doing things myself. But also, it's a little bit of a lack of trust in people because if I say I'm going to do something, I know I'm going to get it done. I may take a little bit longer for me to get it done. I may be a little bit stressed, especially if I've got other things on my plate. But I have that certainty that I'm going to get it done. And I think for me, sometimes that is why I do find it difficult to ask people for help because there's that fear of, what if they don't get it done? What if it's not done properly? And that kind of just makes me not ask for help. It's definitely something I've gotten better with over the years. I was a lot worse at it. But planning this event and especially reflecting on last week, your girl was stressed, okay? Let's be honest. I think a lot of the times we share our wins, but we don't talk about the struggles and our failures. And this is the Pearls and Perils that I'm gonna share my perils with you, okay? This event planning, yo, oh my gosh, it was stressful. And when I say stressful, it's more so the ticket sales part. I didn't foresee that leading up to like just over a week to the event, the ticket sales would be as slow as they were. Like I had a lot, I could see the traffic, people going to my website, clicking, looking, like the interest was there. Also, I'd have people like, yeah, I definitely want to come, but coming closer to the time now when people need to be booking their tickets, the interest was not translating to ticket sales. And this is why I've said to myself, I am not doing an event in early Feb ever again. And the thing is, this situation has also taught me I should have just gone with my instinct. The initial date that I wanted to have my event on was actually the 21st of Feb, because again, I thought of the fact that it's January, I'm not going to have that much time to promote it. And also, I know that a lot of people in January, they wait into their payday, which usually for most people is at the end of the month. So I kind of knew that, obviously around that pay period is probably when I'll most likely get the most sales. But I also wanted to have the event towards the end of Feb because I wanted to give myself a bit more time and to alleviate that pressure of, trying to get sales and so on. But the date I wanted was not available. And then I had two choices: either have the event about 2 weeks before the date I wanted or right at the end of Feb. And I decided to go for, again, because my event was Valentine's Day, I ended up going for the 7th. I'm like, okay, at least it's still kind of in that theme. But now upon reflection and reflecting, but again, hindsight is 2020, right? Had I known how stressful this week would have been, I would have gone for the last date in Feb because also that would have given me more time. It would have actually gone into like, let's say the second pay period of the year, maybe the ticket sales would have been better. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It may not have been better, but it would have definitely relieved some of that pressure. And honestly, I got to Monday, I looked at the ticket sales. Obviously, when you are planning an event, I've already booked the venue. So I've already spent money. And the whole purpose of this event was because I wanted to, one, have an in-person event. One of the goals that I set myself for this year is that I want to commit to having an event every quarter, whether that's going to be in person or online. And also, I've wanted to do an investing event for so long that I was like, yeah, let me just get it done. And I think having a spin on Galentine's would be really cool. Like that would be really fun and a great way to make investing fun in a light-hearted way. Um, so I thought, yeah, it's gonna be a great idea. But yeah, the struggle was real. Got to the beginning of the week, ticket sales were not what I needed them to be. And I was stressed. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, God, okay, yeah, I need something to happen because I've got costs that I need to cover and I don't want to be at a loss. The target I had, okay, yeah, it's not looking like it's gonna happen, which is fine. But I need to at least cover my costs now. But thankfully, as the week progressed, more sales came in, and I can honestly say I didn't sell out by the deadline that I had, which was the 31st. At the beginning of the week, I actually thought, you know, if the sales stay where they are, I'm actually gonna have to make the executive decision to either move the date or cancel the event. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that, but it's still been a lesson learned. And what am I taking away? Go with your gut. Go with your gut. My gut told me, do you know what? Maybe I should just do the later date, but I didn't listen. And I don't regret it, but again, it's a lesson learned. There's nothing I can do about it. But I am looking forward to this event because it's gonna open up a new chapter for me. And I'm really excited, honestly, just to see how the ladies are gonna respond to the event, the feedback I'm gonna receive, and also going forward, how this event will impact them. Because my honest goal and intention is for women to come to this event, receive the knowledge they need, have the confidence to get started in investing. Or for those that have already started, to have more clarity and confidence to really make better investment decisions. Because I think so often we go to events, we watch, webinars, courses, all these things, we're inspired, we read a book, we're inspired, but then we do nothing with that information. And I don't want this event to be that. I want women to get in motion. I want women to start investing as a result of coming to this event. And I'm also going to be sharing more about my own personal investment journey. If you follow me on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, I've been speaking a little bit more, sharing little bits here and there about my own investment journey. And it's also something I've been a little bit hesitant to speak about. I don't know why, but I guess putting my own self out there and talking about my own personal finances, it's just like, I don't really want people in my business like that. But I think one of the reasons why I'm going to be sharing more about my wealth building journey. I'm working towards early retirement, working towards building wealth for myself and my family is because I want to be able to show people that it is very much possible to start from scratch, to start from small. Because I think a lot of people, when it comes to investing, they just feel like, oh, I can't afford to invest a lot. And they use that as a reason not to start. But I've started small. I was looking at my investments a few days ago and I'd calculated in December I had a look at my stocks and shares ISA, my general investment account, the total I have invested, the rate of returns I have, and I did some projections on that. And I saw that if I continued investing at the rate that I am investing at, I could have over 100,000 just across those portfolios by the time I'm 40. But at that time, I didn't factor in my pension because with your pension, you can only access it at a certain age. But I thought, you know what, let me have a look. Let me factor in my pension and see potentially where could I be at 40. And when I did the calculations, I was like, damn, okay, I could have close to 200,000 pounds invested by the time I'm 40. And seeing that, I was like, wow, that is insane. And it could potentially be more. The numbers I've projected are quite modest as far as returns. So it's very much possible for me to have more than that. But I've done that based on what I'm doing now, just for me to see, based on the trajectory that I'm going in now and what I'm doing right now, where could I be by the time I'm 40? And honestly, seeing that has just put a fire in my belly. And this is why I'm doing this event. I wanted to sell this event out, not just for me to sell out and be able to say, oh, yeah, sold out. But honestly, because I want to help women to get started. I want women to really start investing because when it comes to investing, there is a gender gap. The gender gap is not only when it comes to the corporate ladder and our careers, there's also a retirement gap. Women tend to retire with significantly less than men for a number of reasons, especially if a woman has children and she's taken career breaks, maternity leaves. She's done flexible working, so perhaps she's working part-time. All of these things have a factor on what you are investing into your retirement. And so many women, by the time it comes to retirement, they retire with significantly less than men. There are some women that are killing it and they're doing very well, but that is not the case for everyone. And this is one of the reasons why I'm very much like, okay, this year we're talking more about investing. I'm going to do more events on this. I'm going to talk about this more in my content, but also I'm going to share my own personal journey. And I think one of the reasons why I've been hesitant to speak about my own personal journey as far as investing is I know the kind of people that I attract. I think because my content has been quite safe, quote unquote, I've not really ever had to deal with trolls. I've also not been consistent on YouTube, and when I have, I didn't really talk about the things I'm gonna be talking about. So I never really attracted that kind of negative attention, and I have a friend that she does YouTube, she talks about investing and her journey and, speaking about some of the experiences she's had. I'm just like, I ain't got the time and energy to be dealing with people like that. But I I'm gonna do it, and honestly, a realization I had is this year I need to lock in when it comes to YouTube. I really need to lock in. Like I've just been getting this push to do it. And when you keep seeing something or you keep hearing something, it's like, okay, I need to actually start listening. So that's what YouTube is for me. In 2026, I need to be consistent. Definitely going to be sharing more about my investing journey. I'm going to be talking about my financial independence retire early calculation, how I've come to that, but also from the projections I've been doing and recently, it's helped me also to realize like, if I was to have a child in the next year or two, I now have a clearer picture of how much money I need to be investing in my pension whilst I'm on maternity leave and not working. So it's really just given me that clarity. And also I just think again, these are things that most people don't think about. Most women, you're not thinking about your pension in your family planning. Some people aren't even family planning. We're very reactive. We respond to the situation. But I do think, honestly, in this economy, yo, you got to be family planning. You have got to be intentional. Like things are just too expensive. And yeah, for me anyway, I don't know about you, but for me, I will plan what can be planned. And I think family planning is an area that you can definitely plan for. That doesn't mean things need to be perfect or you need to have everything mapped out, but there's some things that you need to have some consideration on, especially as a woman. The other thing I wanted to touch on a little bit before I do wrap up this impromptu open diary entry, I guess I'll call this episode. I don't know what I'll call it yet. Is you can't help someone with a defeated mentality. I say this because there's a tweet, not a tweet, there's something I posted on my threads. It was about my birthday and just like that I've started this tradition essentially of going on holiday in January. And someone had commented and they said, oh, I wish I could do something like this. And I said to them, you know what? You can't, just save up. You don't need to go somewhere expensive. Like, even if you go somewhere like local for a few days, like it can be done. And then they responded and they were like, oh, I would love to, but I'm just in the wrong industry, something like that. And it really got me thinking, so many people, all we see are barriers. All we see are the reasons why we can't do it, or it's hard, or I can't do it because of this, I can't do it because of that. And I do get it, especially if you've constantly been in a cycle of no's or you don't have confidence in yourself or you're just looking at things very plainly and from your what seems to be your reality. But if that's your mentality, you're not going to get anywhere. Well, you're not going to get anywhere you want to get to. And it was just like, yo, like dream bigger. Okay. Your industry doesn't pay. Okay. So what can you do about that? And I think sometimes I think maybe I'm the problem because if everyone seems to be their default seems to be X, but mine is Y, maybe I'm the anomaly. But honestly, I just think this also led me to something else. Is like in this life, you got to be a little bit delusional because if you're too rational, you're going to be cynical, you're going to be small minded, and you're never going to try anything because you're just going to think, oh, it's not going to work for me. Like you've got to have a pinch of delusional when it comes to your goals. And when I look back at my life and I look at some of the things I've been able to do, achieve, that based on my circumstances should never have happened. I think do you know what? It was the faith that I had. It was that delusional faith that it could happen, that it could be possible. And I do find though, as I'm getting older, I'm definitely becoming a lot more rational. And with that, becoming a lot less risk averse. And I think in some ways that can be good, but in some ways it's not. So yeah, I'm definitely working towards going back to that delusional faith that I had when I was younger. Because I think in this life, you've got to be a little bit delusional. You do. You do. Because life, there's so much doom and gloom. There's so much happening in the world that it's just depressing. Like, it's easy to just think, what's the point? What is the point? I totally get it. There's so much going on in the world. But I think if you want to see something different, you got to be the different. You've got to be the difference you want to see. And sometimes that requires being a little bit delusional. So yeah, So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to say. So it was a bit of a random episode, but we're 1 month into 2026. I don't know how this year has been for you so far, but regardless, you survived January, you survived the longest month of the year, and now we are in February. But I want to hear from you. So, like I said, this year we are locking in, we are being consistent with the podcast, being consistent with the Pearls and Perils. I've got a number of like guests that I'm trying to work on having this year. So we'll have some guest episodes, but also solo episodes with me. And I've also decided as well, for those of you that listen on Spotify, that I'm going to keep the Spotify to audio only. But if you are listening on Spotify and you have been watching the episodes recently, but you prefer video, reach out to me, drop me a DM, let me know, leave a comment on Spotify. If your preference is video, let me know. If nobody comments but you listen, I'm gonna assume that you guys don't mind audio. Because I don't know why. I just feel like obviously with YouTube, having the videos makes sense. But I just feel like for Spotify audio is better for the podcast. But if you disagree and you would prefer, like Peter-Kay, I wanna see you, then let me know. But that is the direction I'm planning on going in. Keeping Spotify, Apple Podcasts to just audio only, and then just having video on YouTube. Those of you that want to listen and you want to see the visuals. So that's what I am planning to do. Just gonna have some water. Also, I wanna because we're switching things up. I've been doing this podcast now for such a long time, on and off. 10 years now. Goodness me, 10 years on and off. We need to have a podcast party at this point. Yes, I'm thinking of like new segments, different things that I want to do to kind of like spice it up a little bit. Definitely bringing back the Mr. Mrs. series at some point. It's coming back. So for those of you that have enjoyed the Mr. Mrs. series over the years, it's definitely going to make a reappearance this year. Something I'm thinking to just incorporate at the end of every episode, it's a Pals and Pals podcast, is to share either a peril of the week, which will be like basically like a dilemma, but it's my way of just relating it to the podcast, making it yeah, making it a little bit different. So I want to hear. So this is what I'm thinking. And again, this is our podcast, not just mine. But what I'm thinking is for the peril of the week, I'll either share something that's happened in my life this week that was like a challenge. Well, we could say the event was my peril of the week. It was in my challenge. So I'll share it with you and just kind of give my thoughts on it. But if you have a peril of the week or peril, something that's happening and you need some advice and you're like, PK, what would you do? Reach out to me, drop me a DM, reach out, you can email, all the details are there in the show notes. If you have a peril you want to share, the window is now open. You can either email your peril of the week, you can email it anonymously. Of course, I'm not going to read out your name, or you can drop me a DM if you have a peril of the week. If you're not following me on my social media platforms, then do follow me on there. But yeah, we're going to incorporate that into the episodes going forward. So I need your dilemmas. I need your perils. Like, what's going on? What do you need some advice on? And I will give you my honest advice. It doesn't have to relate to finance. It could be anything. So yeah, I want to hear your perils of the week. But yeah, my peril this week was definitely planning the planning the event. I started off the week with one ticket sold, and I was like, "Lord, Imma need something to happen because that is not even covering the higher fee." But thankfully, we have ended ticket sales are closed, and yeah, we sold some more tickets. So now we're in a much better place, much better space. And what would I give advice to myself? I would say just keep going. Just keep going. And also ask for help. Ask for help if you need it. Tap into your network. Like, you don't have to struggle on your own. Allow people to help you in the way that you would help them. That's what I would say. That is what I would say. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know it's a little bit random. It was a collection of different things. But at the same time, I think sometimes these episodes are the most fun for me anyway, because it's less structured. It's just impromptu. I hope you've taken something away and join me on this journey. This year we are locking in, we are being more consistent. As I said, if you are listening on Spotify or an audio-based platform, gonna stick to the audios for you. But if you are someone that you prefer visuals and you prefer to see, then definitely subscribe to the Pearls and Pearls on YouTube. All my contact details on social media, all those things are in the show notes. Lastly, if you are someone that is listening, but it's not actually following, like maybe you're watching this on YouTube, but you're not actually subscribed, do subscribe. If you are listening on an audio based platform and you're not actually following just yet, hello, follow, follow, so you can stay up to date with episodes. Have a great rest of your week. I hope that February is going to be a great month for you. It's the month of love. Ooh, month of love. So maybe we're going to talk about love this month. Yeah, why not? Let's talk about love this month. Yeah, I'm actually just thinking out loud, but I think that's a good shout. Last month, I spoke about abuse. We spoke about spiritual abuse. I spoke about financial abuse. This month, we are talking about love. I'm definitely going to incorporate that into the content for this month. And actually, one of the episodes I actually wanted to record, but I just haven't been able to with the traveling and now being sick is related to love. So I think the timing is just perfect. But anyways, have a good rest of your week and I'll see you in the next episode.